In America, it was an election year. The public was divided against itself over the very essence of democracy as racial inequality mounted. Across the Atlantic, a new threat was claiming lives daily, and when that threat inevitably made it to U.S. shores, it remained unnoticed until the New York metropolitan area faced its greatest catastrophe in decades. The year was 1916, and the catastrophe was one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in world history, right here in New York Harbor. The magnitude of the explosion at Black Tom Island is nearly impossible to convey. It's actually very straightforward to convey. It measured around a 5.5 on the Richter scale, which isn't very high, but its impact was massive, given it originated between two major cities on an island built to store explosives. Just after 2 a.m. on the 30th of July, 4 million pounds of war munitions exploded simultaneously, along with a barge carrying 100,000 pounds of TNT. Residents of New York and Jersey City were thrown from their beds as the ground shook with the force of an earthquake felt as far south as Philadelphia. Onlookers feared the worst, as munition shells ignited miles from the explosion site, and every window of the lower Manhattan skyline shattered, adding shards of glass to the cloud of bullets and shrapnel flying through the air. After newly arrived immigrants at nearby Ellis Island were evacuated, and the Statue of Liberty's arm was deeply scarred with shrapnel, all that was left here was a 375 by 175 foot crater in the ground. That's about the size of 32 average American 3-bedroom homes. Over the years, the ground was filled and eventually incorporated here into New Jersey's Liberty State Park. But at the start of the First World War, this was the site of Black Tom Island, really a mile-long pier connected to Jersey City by landfill, and it was one of the most vulnerable sites in the United States. Here, railroad tracks for freight trains carrying war munitions converged and connected to warehouse buildings where the cargo was stored before heading out to sea. This was New England's primary link to Europe, or rather, the Allied powers. In 1916, the United States was still neutral, technically. When the war broke out in Europe, President Wilson warned the effect the war would have on American lives would depend upon what American citizens say and do. But a 1913 recession had left the country's economy sinking, and industries needed a new way to profit. Selling munitions and food to countries at war wouldn't really breach neutrality so long as every country had an equal opportunity to trade. Prioritizing the economy over human lives during a crisis, well, early 20th century Americans hadn't had the opportunity to figure that out yet. The US economy flourished from its newfound markets in Britain, France, and Russia, but the British Royal Navy's blockade of German ships prevented them from safely partaking in trade, and Germany didn't like that very much. What followed was widespread German espionage operating in plain sight. A team of German ambassadors arrived in Washington with the expressed purpose of keeping the US out of the war. The undisclosed mission: to sabotage America's efforts to aid the Allies. Stationed in the nation's capital, the head ambassador played out his expected role while providing insight to a team of associates in New York. By recruiting scientists to develop explosives and dock workers to plant them on ships, the team managed to set off a series of mysterious explosions at sea. When they decided to focus their attacks on American soil, Black Tom was the perfect target. You'd think that the nation's largest storage facility for explosives would be heavily protected, but with no gate or pass system and fewer than 10 guards on duty at a time, it was easy to sneak in and lurk in the shadows. And between the warehouses, boxcars, and barges, there were a lot of shadows. Just after midnight on the 30th of July, New York-based agents carrying bombs rode out to the pier, and the rest is forgotten history. How can an explosion so large be forgotten? Black Tom Island isn't a familiar term, even to locals. It disappeared once it stopped making headlines because, at the time, it was impossible to recognize its significance. In 1916, the Bureau of Investigation had only 260 employees, and the Secret Service's duties were limited to protecting the president. Even for a major incident like Black Tom, the nation hadn't developed the ability to coordinate a centralized federal response, resulting in inefficiency and oversight. The investigation fell on local authorities, the New York and Jersey City police departments. They weren't great at communicating with each other, but even if they had been, they had no way of knowing. Black Tom wasn't an isolated incident. German agents had been carrying out similar attacks on factories and shipping facilities in other states, and investigations into those events fell on their local authorities. There was no one to connect the dots. The New York bomb squad vaguely suspected espionage, but there was no evidence. It wasn't until 1939, 23 years later, that Germany was formally declared responsible. In 1919, reflecting on the investigation, then New York Police Commissioner Arthur Woods summarized the implications of the explosions of Black Tom. The lessons to America are clear as day. We must not be caught napping with no national intelligence organization. The incident and accompanying espionage did lead to a stronger FBI and development of the CIA. But the commissioner's words have broader implications. Black Tom was a call to action for a strong, centralized response to protect American lives from foreign threats. A nation caught napping without a plan during a global crisis is indeed vulnerable, and fatal threats arrive in many forms.
A huge thank you to everyone at Liberty State Park for giving me permission to film. To everyone who's new here, welcome and thank you. I have a lot of exciting projects in the works that will show up here over the next few weeks, so if you've not yet subscribed, now is the perfect time to do so you don't miss out, and I will see you here next Monday.